So I reached out to a company by the name of Toolant. I said, hey, I seen that you guys have got a 127 piece ratcheting tap and die set. Love to review it. They sent it out to me, and that's what we're gonna do today. I've got a little wild card. I didn't tell them that I was gonna be doing this, but I wanna compare it to another tap and die set that I personally have. Let me set some of the packaging aside, but I just wanted to show you this is what the package it come in. Pretty nice packaging, and one thing I noticed on the packaging, it said that it comes with a 1-year hassle-free warranty. I do like that because I don't like to be hassled if something breaks and all that kind of stuff. That pisses me off when I have to go in a store, and especially Home Depot, and they want to hassle me about the warranty. So anyways, I'm going to throw a wild card in here. This is my own personal tap and die set, and this is a Irwin 76 piece set. I got this at a bargain, paid $100 for it at a bargain hunt store before they closed down, probably around 2016. I knew I got a bargain on it. I looked it up just now. The exact same kit on Amazon's like $450. So I do know what a quality tap and die set is. I've used this thing all the time, and so I'm gonna kind of compare it, what you get kind of for your money. And so this kit here from Toolant, like I said, is 127 piece, and this here is 76 pieces. So, obviously you get a lot more with this one than you do this one. This one here, it comes with an ABS plastic case, so it's it's going to be stronger than this over time, because eventually, this one is blow molded, and, taking these tap and dies in and out all the time, you can already see right there, this one don't want to fit back in there very good. It gets worn out. Everybody knows, the lids on these will eventually break when you open them all the time, and so that is aggravating. So when it comes to the amount of pieces, Toolant wins. When it comes to the case, with this being ABS plastic versus the blow molded, I feel like the case is better. As far as the tap and die set, I can't really say. I've not used the Toolant long term, so even at the end of the video today, I can't really tell you if this one's better than this one, but I can say this one's made in China. Who knows where the heck this one's made at. So I did a little research, and I'm not real sure exactly where the Irwin set's made. It says when I Google it, it's generally made in the USA, but I don't like the word generally. I want to know, is it or isn't it? It's kind of confusing. I don't really see anywhere on the packaging or on the internet. So I am going to use these. I am going to drill some steel out, tap it out, and see if it's good quality. See if anything breaks on me, and I'll put it to the test. So stay tuned. So just to give you an idea of what the case looks like, you've got a handle here on the front, little latches on each side. You've got a little quick access door right here, and then the ABS case has a hinge here on each side. And so it seems like a pretty good case. When you open it up, there's a shelf, and then there's a pull-out drawer here on the bottom. I'll get to that here in just a second. But I just wanted to show you right in here, you got a little latch that opens up, and you can see right there is your ratchet. And it's embedded in that foam, so it is a little rough to get in and out at first till it wears out a little bit. Now, yeah, I pulled this out and was playing around with it, and I was like, man, this thing is very similar in design to the gear wrench design. If you've seen that one, their handles is turned flat, where these are vertical. Anyways, I was playing with the little ratcheting mechanism, and it is a 72 tooth, so it seems to be pretty smooth. And you got your selector here on there, so you can reverse the direction. You got all your other components. Like I said, it is kind of tough to get in that foam. And then you got your chuck that fits into the ratchet. Let me pull it back out there, and you can see how it fits in there. It's got a knurled area right there for you can loosen it by hand. That all seems to be of good quality. Seems to fit in there nice. It doesn't seem like it's going to fall out or any of that. Now for me, if I'm going to be using this a lot, pick up right here on the side of that foam and pull it out. That way you can get to it, and you don't have to wrestle with trying to pull the stuff in and out. And the little attachment here that holds the dies, it looks to be of good quality. The chrome, it's not absolutely perfect. It's as good as some of your Craftsman stuff. You got a little set screw right there to tighten the die up in there, and then it comes with the Allen key that fits the little set screw. Right here is your top layer, And this is all metric right in here. This is your metric going from 3mm all the way up to 12. And then you've got all the different size threads in between. You've got, like for the 12mm, you've got the 1.75, the 1.5, and the 1.25, and then just the 1 for the different thread count. All the drill bits, which is unheard of. My Irwin set down there does not have the drill bits. So, you know, you've got the tap and die set, you know, when it's time to drill it out, if you don't have this right size drill bit that you need, then you have to go hunt for it. Well, with right here, you know, you've got the right drill bit for the correct tap. And so it's all lined up and it's all in its correct place and it's all labeled right here. And so there's no guesswork. And then you can see on the dies, when you pull them out, you can see that they're labeled just like, you know, my Irwin set. And in fact, these look a little bit clearer, you know, more labeled than on my Irwin set. So anyways, I just like the way that they got them put in there. Now I will say it is kind of a pain in the butt to get these things in and out. I mean, you really gotta, you know, get them in the right spot. Plus they got some oil on, or a little grease on them, and you know, it makes them kind of slick to hold on to. I'd rather them stay in one place than to open it up and they'll be all over the place. So, now if you're wondering where the standard set is, it's right here on the bottom. And now I will say that this is a little bit awkward. The case is, when you go to pull this out, you know, you gotta really kind of pull on it. There's a catch up underneath the bottom there where it just don't pull out very easy. You gotta pull on it just a little more than usual. But once you do, then you can see this is your standard set, and it's pretty much the same as the metric set above. You know, you've got all your drill bits here, you got your taps, and then you got your dies over here, and everything is clearly labeled. Pretty crazy that they were able to put all this, you know, in here. 1/4 inch, 8, half, 7/16, 3/8, 5/16. The list goes on and on and on. Now I just wanted to show you, I know you guys probably can't read this, but you've got like your 1/4 inch 19, and it says BSP. That stands for British Standard Pipe. And then you got over here, this one here says 1/4 inch 18, and it's NPT, and that's National Pipe Thread. And then you got NF, it's National Fine. And then you got NC, that's National Coarse. And so, I mean, you go down through here and they've got pretty much everything you could ever possibly want. This is a really complete set. And again, I can't stress the fact that, you know, they give you the drill bits. Now, honestly, I don't know if they're good quality. Like I said, we're going to take these outside here in just a second. We're going to test them out and, you know, see if they're able to cut. And so, and then same with the tap. We're going to see if they're going to break on me or not. One time I was going through and was changing a spark plug on an old Jeep Inline 6, a little 4 point, I don't remember if it was a 4.2 or 4.0. Yeah, it was a 4.0 liter. And I went to remove the spark plug, very gentle with it, and then, you know, the spark plug, it broke and the threads were left down into the cylinder head. And so I went to the, you know, AutoZone. I thought, well, you know, I'll try to get that out, and then I'll put a Healy coil down in there and thread it in there. And so it come with a tap and a Healy coil. And so I was re-tapping the cylinder head out, and the tap broke. And I was very careful. I used lots of penetrating oil, but the tap broke off into the cylinder head. And, you know, it was the biggest ordeal. I ended up getting in touch with AutoZone and said, hey, you guys sold me a super cheap tap. I used plenty of oil. I you know, went back and reversed the tap, and then I would oil it, and I would pull it out and clean it, and I was trying my best not to break it, and the tap was just cheap and it broke. And so they ended up giving me a good deal on a cylinder head, and I was like, well, how much is just a motor, you know? So I ended up, a buddy of mine, me and him ended up replacing the motor in that old Jeep in one afternoon. So if you're watching, George, thanks for helping me with that engine swap, buddy. And so we replaced that whole engine because a broke spark plug into the cylinder head. And so because of that cheap tap, you know, it cost me having to replace an engine. But anyways, I know I could have replaced the head and went out at it, but I thought, well, might as well replace the engine since AutoZone's giving me a good deal on the engine. So anyways, thanks to AutoZone for hooking me up as well. But anyways, we're going to quit rambling and we're going to get to working. and stay tuned. So what we're going to do next, we're going to take a bolt, just a random bolt that I have, and it's a 7/16 bolt, and to check the threads on it, you're going to use this little SAE gauge here. And so you've got all the different thread types from coarse all the way down to fine, and you know there's a 12, a 14, 15, I believe a 16, 18, and a 20. And so this one that I have in my hand is a 20, and you can compare that to the way that it fits in the grooves of that bolt right there. You can see that it just fits in there nice and snug. And then if you was to try it to one of these coarse ones, you can see that when you try to put it into the threads, it just won't fit. It just does not line up. So these little thread gauges are very, very handy, and it just confirms, you know, that's the right thread, so you know what tap to use. So now there's other tools out there, like this one here, this little man ram bolt checker. You know, if you don't want to do that, you can always just use something like this, and it'll tell you, you know, it's a 7/16 by 20, and you can see that it screws on, and you know it just fits in there all the way, and it fits like it should. Alright, so after you figure out which size bolt that you have and your threads, then you'll come right here and you'll find 7/16 by 20, and you'll see there's your bit that you need, and then right here, right behind it, is the exact tap that you'll need. And you can see that these are clearly labeled 7/16 by 20. Alright guys, so you can see there's the drill bit. That's the exact one. I'm not trying to switch the drill bit on nobody. And I'm gonna go ahead and chuck it up. Got it set on speed number 2. Got it set on drill mode right there. And then I'm just gonna take and drill it right here on the end. And you can see this is a 1/2" steel, and it's pretty thick, guys. You can see it's been cut right here with a set of torches. That's how thick it is. So I'm just gonna put a little WD. I know I should probably use some thread cutting oil, but this is just what I got handy. So we're gonna drill it right here. You see it started slinging out some bigger pieces there towards the end, but it didn't seem to have any problems drilling through there. It didn't burn the bit up or any of that, so that's good. And yeah, seems to still look pretty sharp. I know it's gonna be hot, but yeah, seems to still have a pretty decent edge on it. So anyways, next we're gonna go ahead and clean this up, and then we're gonna start the tapping process. We're gonna grab this piece out of the top part of the lid, and we're gonna take and loosen it up. And like I said, that little knurling on the side helps you grab a hold of it where it's not slick, and then you just put your tap in there and you just tighten it up, and it works pretty much just like a little chuck on a drill. And then once you get it tightened up, you can see that that's not going anywhere. And then you grab your ratchet, and so you want to put the ratchet with the little switch here on the top, and then you want to take and just feed it in there like that. And so now you're ready to start cutting. And now the only thing that I like to do when I start cutting a hole there, cutting the threads in a hole, is I like, you know, putting a lot of lubrication on there, because You know, you don't want to get bound up in there and end up breaking the tap. Like I said, I've already had problems with breaking taps, so as long as you're careful, pay attention to what the heck you're doing, then you should be good. The next thing is I'm always very careful about trying to put in there as straight as possible, and so like right in there, I want to try to get it started just by hand and get that feel for it and make sure it's straight, and then I put that little ratchet on there and then start working it in place. So what I'll do is push down on it and start twisting it and pushing down at the same time. And I'm always very careful when I first start them because, you know, I don't want it to waller out the hole any bigger than it needs to be. But I can feel that it's cutting. And I can see that it's cutting. I don't know how well you guys can see that the tap's got little flutes in it, and you can see that it's got some metal shavings down in there. And so I just put a little lube on it. I'm gonna thread it a little bit more because the flutes ain't got any very much shavings in them, but they do have some. And so I'm not going to back it out just yet till I get a few more threads cut down in there. And then now, you know, I can back it up just a little bit. If I get in an area where I need to, you know, switch my hands, that's where this ratcheting wrench comes in place. It's just real comfortable. And it's real comfortable in the hands too. I actually like it, the paddles being vertical rather than like the gear wrenches where they're horizontal. They don't cut into your hands. You can actually pull, and it seems to be more comfortable in your hand this way. And let's say you want to back out just a little bit, then you just take and reverse, and you can unthread it just to clean it out. That's what I like doing. I like pulling that tap out. Even though it's not fully threaded all the way through, I'm very careful tapping anything. Just making sure that there's good lubrication on there. I always get it threaded with my hand first, and then I can put that wrench back on there and finish the job. And if you're wondering why did I drill the hole so close to the edge, well, you know, steel and supplies are expensive nowadays, and I figured, you know, I'm trying to use as little as possible of materials. And so this is just a scrap piece that I found, and I thought, well, I'll drill it as close to the edge in case I want to use it for another project. And it's doing a good job. I can definitely tell it's already made its way through there. And you can see on the ground where that penetrating oil is, there's some shavings in it that I'm just sitting here watching fall on the ground. And now when you get to this point where I feel like I've, you know, created threads all the way through there, this is where the ratcheting part comes in really handy, because you can just take and that makes it so much faster. So much faster. And I accidentally bumped it and turned it the wrong way. But you can see that I'm almost to the bottom of the tap there, or to the top of it. Now I'm going to reverse it and back it out, and you can see just how nice those threads are. And if you take your time and you do it slow and you use plenty of penetrating lubricant, then you can get good results. And that's what I have here. You gotta say, seemed to do a good job at cutting it. Didn't have any problems, you know. And I like the fact that that drill bit was the right one and I didn't have to go searching for it. And at this point, I'm just going to do it by hand. You can see right there, there's some metal shavings on the tap that come out, and that's what that penetrating oil is good for, you know. And another trick you can do is put a little bit of grease on there, and it'll help catch those shavings there in that little fluted area and get them out. But you can see, cut some nice threads in there, and I do have a bolt somewhere. I laid it down. Let's see if the bolt will fit in there. So again, this is a 7/16 by 20 bolt, and I've not tried it yet, so we're going to try it on camera together. And you can see right there, screws right in there, nice and easy. You can tell that those threads are in there good now. It's not going to go anywhere. And so let's go ahead and try to pull it out. You can see right there, didn't have any problems going into there. There's some oil on it and some shavings on there. I could have probably cleaned those out a little bit better, but didn't have any problems. It tapped that out, and yeah, seems to work just fine. Now I'll flip this workpiece over to see what the back side looked like and see if I could thread it in there on the back side. And yep, no problemo. Seemed to work good, guys. So gotta say, it works. The drill bits seem to be pretty sharp. Are they the highest of quality drill bits? Nah, probably not, you know, but I don't know. They didn't, you know, give me any problems, so I'd say they're pretty good drill bits. But like I said, they're not, you know, $500 set of drill bits. They're not probably the best ones in the world. Will they work for everyday use? You know, homeowner stuff, DIYer stuff, yeah. Would I use them for, you know, if I was a mechanic or something like that? Yeah, I probably wouldn't hesitate to use them. I don't know if they'll hold up every day. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever used them. But they seem to be of good quality. Now I know if the drill bit gets dull, you know, you can always resharpen the drill bit, and you know, shouldn't have any problems with it. So I think for $199, it's a good deal. But I seen just a few minutes ago, I logged on to Amazon and I was checking prices, and I was watching other YouTubers videos on this kit, because that's what I like to do. I like to see what other people are doing and see if I can make a better video. And so I logged on to Amazon, and they got a sale going on right now, and it's $150, so that's a good deal. So you know, I'll put a link in the description for the kit. I am Amazon affiliate. Don't try to hide that from anybody, but I didn't know that it was on Amazon. I literally didn't even think about it. I reached out to Toolant and got their kit from them, and I didn't even realize that they sold them on Amazon. So anyways, it is what it is. I'll put that Amazon link down below, and then also if you want to check Toolant's website, I'll put it down below as well. But check both websites, find out who's got it cheaper, because truthfully, I'd buy it from whoever is cheapest. I'm a penny pincher. But anyways, appreciate you guys watching, and hope this video, you know, was a little informative to you. Taught you how to at least tap a piece of metal out, and show you that this is a pretty decent set. Now again, like I said, if you get it and you use it every day and it breaks on you, it's not my fault. I mean, like I said, this is just a one-time test, and I can't speak for longevity. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, you guys have a good one, and make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because I've got some really good videos coming out. I've got a video coming out from Spring Tools. I got some videos coming out from Pneumatic Plus. Let's see, I've got 2 or 3 videos that's, if you're into tools, you're going to want to watch them. So make sure you subscribe. Till next time, see ya.